Hey, hey, hey. There's my dos amigos. What's up, guys? You're watching Market Tuesday with GP and JFDI. And hi, I'm Bags. You guys are loving this market action, I know, GP. I'm going to quote GP from the pre-production here. He said, I just want to cry.
Yeah, it's guess what? We're still range bound.
Week what? Inverse triangle. It's holding up pretty well.
Week 26, Nick.
I mean, this is just
we can't even get a strike in the Middle East to unlock this range.
Yeah, it's kind of mind blowing, isn't it?
It is. It is a testament to the market is run by positioning and derivatives. If you ever had a question, this tells you all you need to know. Because, dude, the amount of stuff that should rock this market and this sell should accelerate, it keeps poking lower, not breaking range, and finding buyers. So right now we're sitting in the middle part, and the problem with all of this stuff is you cannot run small caps and sell mega caps, because then mega caps become mega caps become value, and small caps become memes. This is the problem with the market right now, right? Like, people are going to look for safety, and the safety is coming via mega caps. Like, why wouldn't you buy? Is what Nvidia 17, 18 times earnings?
About that, yeah.
Yeah, and Microsoft, Meta are also, I think, around 20 times earning, 20, 22. I don't know the exact figure, but like, yeah, you're just, it's a struggle. That's for sure.
We're still holding that 24, 245 on the Qs though. I mean, they have tried and tried and tried to get down there and break it, but we're not. I mean, it's range bound, and I think that's where a lot of the angst comes from. Last week we talked about Max Payne, right? And Max Payne we anticipated was up through earnings and then down, right? And that's practically what we've got playing out. Is maximum pain. There is no breakout. There is no complete dump, even though, you know, when you're down 1% on the Qs on the day, you don't feel great about it. But I mean, we went from red to green yesterday. I got to look at things as a little more optimistic than pessimistic. But Nick, are you feeling this? You need to cry over the market action?
Not so much that I need to cry, but I mean, the nature of today's open was kind of like, felt very like, what the fuck, considering the open that we had yesterday. But, I don't know, like, I think things look pretty good. And I was, you know, looking at Google, and I've seen some like people referencing the Head and Shoulders look on the daily that could be forming.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't help but think that it was going to be another bear trap, and like we weren't ultimately going to get that leg lower. But when GP brought up talking about, what was it, NAS end of year 2023, where it was almost kind of like the bottom fell out before we kind of like catapulted higher. So it was kind of, I don't know. I'm not saying I want to cry, but it is like,
it's hard to stomach the movement, right? Like, if you're paying attention to every tick and every candle, it's like you're getting seasick at this point, because we're in what, week 26?
Week 26.
Yeah. I mean, that's half a year, right? Like 52 weeks in a year. We got 26 weeks of sideways. So something's got to give, GP. And I think you're probably your thesis of this needs to resolve soon, or it's most likely to the downside. I think that's still probably accurate. Or is that still where you're at? Or are you looking for us to just melt through all supports overnight in the morning?
I think we're at the point where we're going to start melting through supports, because they're starting to build volume down here. Right in the lower half of the range, there's lots of sellers that are starting to pile up here, right? So, which means there's a lot of trapped dead bodies, and the trapped dead bodies could capitulate, and that could be the issue, or it could be the start of another leg lower. Don't know yet. Gotta see what it is. But yeah, that the problem is the amount of volume that's building up here, and the bulls can't push through, right? Like if you watch yesterday's action, we closed bullish except for the end of the day. We closed right below the year-to-date pivot of 25.025, and then as soon as that happened, 14 straight hours of selling. 14 straight hours, right? Like it wasn't like, and it wasn't a lot of volume. It was just boom down, boom down, boom down, boom down, boom down, right? Like there was no bounce. There was nothing. It was just straight trickling death all night long. And then we got to 24,600. 24,600 broke, which is another key pivot in this area. We tried to reclaim it, rejected, try to reclaim, rejected, try to reclaim, and we're kind of right there right now, right? And so the bulls haven't shown what they need to outside of holding things up. So to me, it's not actually the bulls. I think I posted this last week. It's bear on bear crime, right? It's early bears covering to late bears, and they're just going back and forth, and they're fighting amongst themselves. And yeah, like you definitely see pockets of strength, right? Like the IGV is up today. Most of the software names are doing well. Crypto continues to show relative strength, but still weak.
It's still weak.
I mean, what about your Netflix? Does it want to lead us out of here?
No.
Netflix and Spot look really good, right? But and there are things that there's things that are finding support, but not finding enough buyers to push through. So if this market turns lower, right? If they gap this lower and we go lower, all of these people who are coming in and trying to support these names end up becoming sellers as well, and that's why it can accelerate to the downside. We're at a pretty decent point of the markets, right? Like if you don't start to push higher, we know this, right? Like what can't break out breaks down. But it's nice to see the IGV up, right? Palantir is holding up pretty well. Microsoft is green actually today, and so tomorrow it'll be down $15. There's just no, you got to be a day trader for the most part, right? Or you got to be like, I'm not bullish enough into the year 2030.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my game plan, right? Like,
yeah. And as long as your portfolio doesn't require you, doesn't have requirements to let you eat, live, and pay rent or mortgage, then you're fine.
Right.
But as of now, I'm not bearish. I'm not bullish. I'm just, it's bullshit.
You're not bearish enough, Nick.
Bosh. Just chop, chop.
Dude, like, so we have a conflict here and they can't stop selling metals. And then the other part is, we talked about this right before the call, is oil is breaking out, so to speak, but XOM, they're distributing, right? It's red today. One thing you noticed about ExxonMobil throughout this whole cycle was that in the downtrend of oil, Exxon didn't care. The problem is once oil gets above 70, 72, it now becomes a hindrance to their production, to their profitability, and everyone knows that. And it's counterintuitive, but their sweet spot lies between 60 and 70, which is why for the last 2 years you've seen a lot of strength. If this conflict accelerates and oil continues to punch up, this is not good for ExxonMobil as much as you'd want to think it is.
I feel like a lot of the energy names look pretty good even still. You know, I was looking at EOG, it's still in kind of a big base, but I was even thinking
pull up ExxonMobil.
I was thinking Warren Buffett's
Oxy.
Yeah.
Right. So ExxonMobil just behaved like a meme stock.
Yeah.
And for 4 or 5 days, they've been trying to break it out, yet it keeps getting sold. This, to me, is not a bullish sign, personally. And so today is the day of the other 493 stocks. You can see it. You can see the weakness in the other. It's always 493 plus Tesla, because Tesla you just buy puts whenever it's any day. Any day
24/7 on everything is what you were saying, GP. I mean, I'm not trying to give away state secrets here, but it was, and I quote, buy puts on things that are red, buy puts on things that are green, just buy puts.
Yeah, but look at the price action. We've been heavily skewed for puts for the better part of the last 8 trading days, and they may not get rewarded as buying cheapo puts, but they're still not getting destroyed. They're still winning the battles consistently. So we're in the negative gamma area, and so it just seems to work, right? Like look at the OI in 675 SPY puts for today and tomorrow, right? You can look at it and you can see, I'll pull it up for you guys. and I'll tell you what it is. But it's well into the 100,000 range on daily options, right?
Nick, what do you do in a market like this? Do you just sit there and eat Pepsid, or a ton of Advil or Tylenol, or like how are you coping on action like we saw coming into the week? Thursday, Friday, and now Friday, or Monday, Tuesday.
I mean, generally speaking, I've tried to pick a few spots and kept size relatively small on like recent positions, which to the open this morning did kind of sting, just with positions that I threw on, thinking yesterday's low might be an easy spot to play against. So anything that I was in that kind of wick that low, I dumped them. But I don't know. I think if you're playing it in the short term, you got to be incredibly small. But I think the longer that we're in this range, it kind of feels to me like the more I'm leaning towards a retest of kind of that 575, 580
on the Qs.
Yeah. If we, undercut that and kind of capitulate into the 550, 560 range, it'd be kind of a bummer, because I would imagine I get blown out of a lot. Like, I bet you a good majority of trail stops would probably get hit, but I think it would set up a lot. So, for most guys, I think all you can do is kind of be patient. If you got stopped out of shit, you got to sit there and cash and just kind of, either have your levels to play against, and you got to stay small, I think. So, I don't know. It's frustrating, I think, but part of the course for week 26.
You have a bottle of Rolaids beside
you
the
have
desk,
a day, you have like a day kind of like yesterday, and it kind of makes you think like, oh, holy shit, we might have some resolution in one direction or the other. At the very least, you thought we'd get a tradable bounce, back into six. Let's just say back into 625, 630. But obviously, we haven't got that yet.
So I think we talked about it before the chat. I don't know if I talked about when we started. It's bear crying, right? Like yesterday was just covering. That's all it was, right? Like, we want to see the green candles and assume it's buying, but it was literally just covering. And as soon as they covered and they got to the pivot of 25025, that was it. They started shorting again. So until we start to see this behavior change, and you can see this if you're looking at, like, if you're a day trader or if you're a short-term trader, if you're looking at these candles, you can see them pretty easily. You'll see these high volume kind of wick candles on the NQs or on the ES, on the 5 minute, 1 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute, whatever you're looking at. And you can see them, right? There's no follow through. You'll see these high green volume candles, but it's quite wicky. And if it's wicky, it's most likely shorts covering and trying to reshort, right? So the late bears are coming in and trying to short more, and the early bears who know pivots and market action better are coming back and reshorted. So it's just stuff to watch.
I mean, IWM looks a whole lot better than the spies in the queue.
IWM looks like turds. What are we talking about here?
I like it versus kind of that that 254, 255.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I didn't take a trade on it by any means this morning. I totally thought we were heading towards the 200-day, towards 245. But
I still think that's happening, right? Like, are you going to buy the names that make up the IWM, or are you going to buy NVIDIA at 17 times earnings or Microsoft at 20 times earnings, who are using their own cash to do their build outs?
What are you looking at? Like, was there anything that's like that you
So
don't currently own that you're interested in, either lower or higher? Like either
I picked up Wolf today.
first 50.
Yep, around like 1480, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I like that. I got into Circle at 62 before earnings, so that's been really good. But I like Microsoft. I like the software names. IGV. I think Microsoft being the leader in IGV was unfairly punished. Part of that trend buying. So if Microsoft can pull out of this, it's going to push the IGV higher. And to me, you're seeing clear rotation. If the markets are crappy, people are going to look for spots to put money in safer names. It's not IWM.
Can I be the electric blanket to the wet blanket
Sure looks like it
that we have going on? I was looking at my FMAGA and my Magnat, which is basically the mags, the Magnificent Seven. You know, if you look at from high to low, like we're right at 13%. We're kissing off of the 50 weekly, which usually is a pretty reliable spot to catch a bid. I'm not saying we U-turn and go higher here. I'm just saying if one were so inclined, maybe they put some money to work in names they like. That's all I'm saying. I'm just trying to heat us up to an idea that everything's not so bad. We were just really overstretched, overbought from where we came from last April. Maybe let's just throw that out as a hypothesis, or is that too rational?
No, I think it makes sense. Like, and yesterday, what should have been basically, it's just kind of delayed, right? So everyone was thinking yesterday is the day that we get destroyed, and instead they bought it up and they destroyed us today. So what I needed to see yesterday was the gap down and flush, right? Not gap down and buy. I wanted to see the flush. And I think we're seeing some of that flush. So I lean more to the upside here in general, just because how the names that are doing well are leading. Look at AST is going nuts right now. Rocket Lab is now starting to catch a bid. Microsoft is holding well. Oracle just went from red to green. Tesla, I don't even want to talk about. Circle keeps pushing. BMNR, which has been Tom Lee and
Service now.
I'm going through them. Palantir just went green. CRM authorized a buyback of third of their market cap. And if anyone knows Mark Benioff, he is one crazy dude. I'm not saying he will deploy all $50 billion in a single setting, but he knows that they're growing at 30 on their earnings. They're growing at 30% or 33%, or I don't remember the exact number. Sorry, guys. But they're growing at a pretty fair clip. They just raised their dividend on top of the buyback as well. And
they don't really have a dividend.
What's that?
They don't really have a dividend.
Yeah, but raising is a confidence conversation, right? Even if it's a 10% raise, they're saying
yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not meaning to step on you by saying that there is no confidence in saying we're raising the dividend, but when you raise the dividend from a penny to 2 penny, that's 100% gain, but it's really meaningless.
You know why it's meaningful?
Tell me.
Because there's a lot of funds that invest in dividend-only stocks. And when you don't have any dividend, those funds can't invest in you. And so look at NVIDIA. It's been a 1 penny dividend for the better part of 15 years now or something like that. But it gets classified into a fund. It's obviously crushing everything on all metrics anyway, but it opens up a set in a group of buyers that non-dividend playing stocks don't. So I think that's why Google introduced a dividend. So did Meta. Obviously, the founders also get paid via less capital gains taxes as well. And so, yeah, they get, when you don't have enough growth buyers, you got to start looking for value buyers. That's what dividends provide for you.
Hey, Nick, John's giving or Andrew's giving you a shout out for EOG last week. You got any other trades cooking that you like this week, or anything that you've held on to from these 2 crazy days?
Short term, I'm really into this U and Fastly. I think on the short term, I think they're kind of hot Momo names. I'll be definitely lightening up into this, like into a next leg higher, but yeah, EOG. I don't know. Like, I know, you know, GP talked about XOM kind of really looking like it wanted to pull back, but like, you know, some of the others still look really good. I mean, if EOG busts out of this range, man, like, it's a big fucking base.
I can argue that Exxon doesn't look like death.
Look at the weekly on Exxon.
Yeah,
that's what I had it on.
What is that? Three red candles.
Retest of the breakout potentially. So the way I would look at it, GP, and you can disagree with me, was this was attempt 1, didn't work. This was attempt 2, didn't work, and this was attempt 3, it did work, and now we're retesting that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's a perspective. I'm not saying that I'm right.
No, I can see it. I think it gathers more strength if it comes back to the 120s. I don't think ExxonMobil is done for. I think it needs a pullback, right?
Yeah.
That's my thought process. And this,
I'm just saying, I think there's a lot of names in there that look good. That's all I was saying. Even despite XOM just looking like, that's all it needs is to pull back.
Yeah, all of these names need to pull back, right? You just need the rotation.
Yeah.
So what's getting rotated into? We talked about IGV, and that's an area that everybody and their brother, if they paid attention to me over the last 6 to 8 weeks, knows I like after this catastrophic plunge. But Nick, I mean, that seems to be catching a bid. What do we think what else do we think could get rotated into? That's what the people want to know. We deliver alpha. We've been doing this for 3 years, delivering alpha, not bitching and moaning over price action.
Yeah, fair. I mean, I'm with you on the IVG. I threw a Palo Alto trade on. I just happened to be looking at the monthly chart and was like, you know, it's sitting on the 4-year. The MACD looks stretched.
If this is where it's going to catch a bid, I mean, if it's going to catch a bid, this is where it should catch a bid.
Yeah. Let's see.
Crypto.
Do you think money's going to be rotating into crypto?
Crypto has been seeing money rotating in. That's so what if March 3rd is April 7th of last year?
Could be.
I'm not saying it is. I'm saying crypto has been showing strength. It showed strength last year when the market started to come down, right? Around this time, I think it was like a week before the markets actually bottomed, and you can see it in BMNR. You can see it in Coin. Coin is up $50 from its lows, right? The low was 139. We're at 180
from its high, from its lows to its most recent high. Yeah, it's about $50.
That's a pretty sizable move in this chop of a market.
Low to here, that's about 30% though. I mean, I think that's pretty solid.
Yeah, and MicroStrategy, right? Similar.
I'm sticking to my theme of everything everyone wanted to run to when it was too late, meaning the defensive and the cyclicals and the metals. I think that's played out. I think we've had a lot of damage in the Qs, in the megas, and in the IGV specifically. And I think that's where we're going to see. I mean, everything that's old is new again, right? There's nothing new under the sun. what do you rotate into when you've rotated out of it? You rotate back, right? That's what a rotation is. So I still like all those plays. I think crypto's. I'm a long-term crypto bull, so it's not a surprise for me to say I think crypto is a good place to be, but it's more speculative, right? Like you shouldn't be putting massive amounts of money to work in crypto unless you understand the risk. And you can get chopped up and chopped around, slapped around if you're not careful. But as far as investments goes, like I still like the software sector, and I'm going to keep screaming that to everybody. I like CrowdStrike right here. I mean, look at that bounce. You're right back into the pivot. Yeah, I would like to see it close above 400 on a weekly basis, but I think CrowdStrike looks good. Nick, I really like your Palo Alto for the same reason why you brought up Palo Alto. If it's going to catch a bid, here's where it should catch a bid. Look at it bounce perfectly, a little undercut and go off the 50 weekly, right? So I think there's a lot of places you can play. I mean, something I sold, SoFi, right? We've got Noto in here buying, according to yesterday's reports. He was able to open up, purchasing on March 1st, and here we are. All of a sudden, we're up 5% on a week that is seeing a lot of volatility. One thing that short seller, who was in the Charts for Charity group that we used to have, one thing short seller would always say was volatility usually dictates a trend change. And we have seen a lot of volatility. My question to you guys is, when does volatility start evening out and we see a smoother up or a smoother down? Because I can make an argument, just looking at the VIX, right, that we have been nonstop volatile for 26 weeks, even though we've been in a range.
VIX is making a lower high,
which in essence would be bullish for equities, right?
It's bearish for VIX. I think
bearish VIX. Everything else should go up.
There's been a disconnect in VIX, right? And equities. So I don't know if they correlate right this moment.
Okay, fair enough.
That's all. And we're selling.
Nick, you have any take on the volatility or any other things that you would like to talk about?
Honestly, I think considering the action, you could probably just set some alerts, especially like on the indices, and not even involve yourself in this fucking market whatsoever. You could just say, hey, like, it's, kind of one of those conversations we had about like XLE and the GLD. It's like, just set the alert for the high. You could probably set an alert on Q630 and ignore everything until that alert goes off, and just avoid yourself a lot of frustration.
Just go to sleep. Wake up when the alert wakes you up. That's boring though.
Right? I know it is incredibly boring, but I think you're there. I mean, I don't know what we're sitting on, like we're flirting with completely rolling and reverting back into the prior range. And so I think the longer we hang here at kind of the 670, whatever that 675 is, the likely that we roll back over. I'm sorry, I was looking at the SPY, not the Qs. Yeah, the longer we flirt here, like, I don't know. So it's not exciting. It is pretty fucking boring, but that's kind of just I think the nature of the beast right now.
So as a trader, you would rather to see highs or the high of the range taken back out, as opposed to buying at the bottom of the range and keeping a stop set.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, reclaiming like the short-term moving averages. I mean, at least at that point, you know that the momentum is on your side, or like you could argue that the momentum is at your back if the moving averages are curling, but they're not. So you're kind of just, I don't know, fighting what the market wants to dish. That's the only reason it's really like frustrating per se, is because we want something to happen. We want a very specific thing to happen, right? And it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not feeling the hottest.
Yeah, you sound a little under the weather.
Yeah.
G Pisa, why wouldn't one buy the bottom of the range?
Because I think for the most part, we're conditioned to, when we have these ranges and we get to the bottom, a flush of some sort happens, whether it's a single day flush or a multi-week flush. That's what tends to happen, right? So people don't want to buy this when it's sitting in the bottom of the range, and then they buy it at the middle or the top, and then they get smacked right back into the bottom of the range. This is creating a destruction of your mental capital, which is why what Nick says makes a lot of sense. Come back when things are better. If you want to trade this market, unless you're going to go to cash every night, right? Then you can operate in a better space ultimately. If you're an investor, you got to have a longer term horizon, because ultimately if this value that's building down here with the volume breaks to the downside, there is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
That this can accelerate, and we can get back to 21. So we could still lose another 3,500 points on the NQs, right? We can go back and retest the breakout of last year.
But why don't you just set a stop?
You can do that.
Because you set a stop
Again.
and then it reverses higher, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to buy it again, and then you set a stop and it reverses higher, right? Like it literally.
We haven't hit that pivot on the Qs
on the Qs,
NQ,
sure,
right?
but on individual names, right? There, it's very, if you're day trading this market, it's very predatory in terms of what's happening, right? So like the gold moved down today. They spent all of yesterday trying to trickle it lower, and then they kept bouncing it up. So they'd stop everyone out at the pivots, bounce it higher, and then finally crush it overnight, right? So it's been predatory type price action if you're looking at it from even a day trading environment, because you'll see this monster green candle hammer form on a daily. I'm sorry, not a daily, on an intraday time frame. And the next candle is down 100 points, right, on the NQs or whatever. So there's a lot of predatory, which is why I continue to say it's bear on bear crime, not bulls, unfortunately.
Bobby Conway said Dixie is showing divergence and a bottoming process. Let's look at old Dixie. I haven't looked at Dixie in a minute. Yeah, I mean, typically though, Bobby, I mean, for equities, you want to see the Dixie low. You want to see a weaker dollar to help equities. But I see what you're seeing. Like I could say that bottomed out. Couldn't you, Nick?
Yeah, I see that.
I could definitely say that bottomed out. So if Dixie's going higher, that probably means equities aren't going to do as hot, I would imagine. But we'll see. I think we've had a little bit of a divergence, and maybe that's what you're talking about. Hey, GP, we did have RP. He wants us to look at Circle, and I'd like both your guys' take. I threw this trend line on there a couple weeks ago, but anything that you guys are seeing that makes you more or less bullish in this name?
Yeah, I think we both have a trade on in it, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think earnings is probably their biggest thing. They're crypto space, and they crush their earnings. Crushed, right? And which is why you're seeing consistent relative strength overall. From a chart perspective, it undercut the IPO low, reversed higher. It was, I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Circle, when crypto reversed a couple of weeks, Circle was the only one, this is pre-earnings, that reversed higher on volume greater than the day before. Only one. MicroStrategy didn't, Coin didn't. Even though they're doing well, Circle was the one where you're like, oh, wow, I got to pay attention to this, right? Because not only did buyers step in, they stepped in heavier than the sellers did the day before. And that's something good to notice from a chart perspective. This is the same stock that IPO'd at 64 and went to 298 in 2 weeks. I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but the buying's there, buying slowing down, so I can see it pull in. I would not chase this, even though you want to, because it's what it is. But I would not chase this. I'd wait for a pullback to, which you actually got today, right? to like, or yesterday, to the 80 level. But yeah, there's no reason to chase this. And if you are, just set a trailing stop so you don't get absolutely obliterated.
Yeah, it'd be nice to kind of get I don't know, a bit of a range or a flag to kind of build out here between 100 and 90. I think if you get anything into 90, you take a stab at it, or as long as like the, the 10 and the 20 start to catch up. If they start to kind of like catch up and then curl under price, maybe we get a kind of a tighter pivot.
I prefer any flags to happen at the 150 range, Nick. Is that cool? I'd prefer any flags to happen at the 150 range. Is that cool?
Yeah, that'd look really good too, for sure.
Like 146, somewhere around there. Obviously, like you had to have been in it earnings. If you were in it earnings, you had to keep a smaller position and a wider stop, right? Or the ability to add, right? So that's the thing with earnings. There's no reason to chase, but it looks pretty damn good.
No, but I think this is, whether you're in it or you're adding it to your list now, it's kind of one of those names that should be standing out, just considering the, push off the lows and the volume that came in over the last week.
It looks great.
Like, yeah.
You look at the monthly or the daily, it looks really good.
It's a very similar setup to is Fig. John had mentioned it in the chat, and I know it was one that Joey and the guys are, I think, pretty loaded in. But you have kind of like a descending channel. I don't know, not quite as big of a move as Circle, but you could probably get a push back to the mid 60s. I think if this thing really breaks out.
That's 100% from here, Nick.
Yeah, that's the same. It's the same trade as in Circle. Circle's got, like, again, I think a pushback to 200 in it.
Hey, if anybody is a TradingView expert and knows how I can hold my chart here, as opposed to when I change the time frame and see how it goes back there, holler at me. Let me know. I must have changed some settings because this is getting on my damn nerves. So if you know, let me know.
Check out you.
Yeah.
Nick mentioned you earlier.
Nope. The other you.
Oh, YOU.
Yes, clear. This was a name I liked.
Look at that base breakout. Yeah, every base breakout has failed, but look at that base breakout.
This was a name that I wish that I had the conviction to hold down here in the teens long ago. But you gotta make your own decisions, right? You gotta do what you think's right for you and your time frame. And I didn't have the patience. I really like what they've got going though, especially now with helping out with TSA, which is a large part of what they do already. And who knows what our government's going to do, is what we've figured out over the last, my lifetime.
What's on your list, Bags? What are you?
No, I still like the same names that I gave out last week. I still like OPTX. I think that's just ready It should needs to catch its breath a little bit, and I think it's ready for another run. I'm kind of waiting for it to break this IPO, or it might have been a SPAC high. That usually releases these things. And then, of course, I like Wolf. Wolf is like, it's just range. So those are the names I like. I still like VST. Doesn't look as good right now, but all it has to do is take out its weekly high, and we're right back to game on with that convergence of moving averages there. So those are the names that I like, other than what I'm currently already in. I still like CrowdStrike. I mentioned that earlier. If I had a room for another anchor in my long-term portfolio, I would probably throw on some CrowdStrike. MongoDB got absolutely crushed today, but they're buying it back up. If I can get back over there. So they're buying it back up.
Yeah,
this is reminiscent of a lot of things that got smacked in the face, like ServiceNow did not too long ago.
C got crushed too.
Which one?
SE.
SE. Yes, C Limited. Oh, yeah, it did. It got smacked, and they're buying it up too. See, so
yeah, I mean, if you look on the weekly, like it is kind of retesting, a base breakout, so it shouldn't be too surprising that they are buying it up.
Like this, right? I mean, it gives me inclination that there are buyers, and we're seeing buyers out there in select names, but the indices are getting punished, and everything that's tied to that's getting punished, right? But there are places to play that, while it's down 20%, there are buyers at least today, whether that's a mean reversion trade or whatever. I like your Palo Alto idea, Nick. I also like, where am I at here? Synopsis. I like Synopsis down here in this range. It was a chart that you had posted last week, Nick, ahead of earnings. I loaded some near the bottom on Friday, which I damn near got a second effort on that, yesterday morning. But
I think now is looking phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to pat myself on the back too much. It's still got a long way to go.
Sure.
But yeah, no, it looks good. I mean, I think
look at Target.
I were looking for a reversal, I would want to see that continue to play out, and above, that's a shitty line, but above, what is that, like 120? It's going to fill that gap at least, right? One would think.
Yeah. Coin has a conference today. Everyone know that? Anyone know
who?
That? Coin
has a conference today. ServiceNow had a conference yesterday with JP Morgan or somebody. VPA's back at his break even for now, so that's great.
Check out Frog.
J Frog, running into it 9 daily. Yeah, I'm getting there. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of action you want to see when things get at its bleakest, right? Is buyers stepping in, and that doesn't mean
where, if you zoom out, it's the base, right?
Yeah.
Base support is a really clutch thing. Whereas, like, I don't know, Unity software, it just got destroyed, right? Like, so, just stuff to notice.
I think sometimes in our reptile brains that we have, we want to latch on to some price action, but then we throw price action out when it's not going against us, when in reality we would really like to buy lower. People will be screaming from the rafters that things are too expensive. It's too expensive. It's a bad multiple or a bad forward PE, whatever, right? Like, there's 1,000 reasons to sell. But when you get the names that you want to be in and you're not taking advantage of price, again, if you're charting and you're setting prices of like, this is where I want to buy, and you're not taking action, like, I don't know how to wrap my brain around that, right? Like if it was a good deal, and we'll just use Frog as an instance. If it was a good deal up here in the 50s and 60s, why don't you want it in the 35s or 40s if the thesis isn't broken, right? Like the chart can be broken and it can take time to repair, but if you're not, using your money to pay the mortgage or the rent or have to buy food with, like that seems like an investment opportunity to me.
For sure. If you got the money, buy stock.
ZA says ONDS. I don't have a position in Ondas, but I know that they should be getting paid more for their I think they're drone, right? Drone technology. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I re-entered on. I mean, I'm basically.
And I'm not saying that $10 a good or fair price. I'm just saying, like, if this is something that you want to be in and you're waiting for a pullback to get in, where you're getting your pullback. ZA is in.
I think ASTS and Rocket Lab both look fantastic along with your Ondas.
Rocket Lab. Yeah, I mean, I think I probably prefer ASTS.
That's the alpha male, though. 100%.
Yeah, Rocket Lab's getting sort of a sympathy bump off of ASTS, probably, right?
Well, Rocket Lab's earnings was actually pretty good. They just sold it down. ASTS earnings was great, and they bought it up. So I'm assuming it was like positioning and stuff with Rocket Labs, but it tends to follow ASTS, only like lags a few days, right? So like ASTS is having a day today. I wouldn't be surprised if Friday or Monday Rocket Labs had a day like this. Yeah. Today's a day to keep the indices at bay.
VPA said AMD had a conference today. I feel like AMD, I mentioned this last week when we were talking about Salesforce. It seems like every time Salesforce reports or has an investor day or some kind of conference or some shit, like they get sold down. And I feel like AMD is the same thing. Like they can't get out of their way. They can't create positive news on their own, basically, right? Like
Lisa cannot generate that alpha.
Seems like
Lisa's never been able to. When was the only time it pops was Sam Altman grifting.
That's strike 2 on VPA. He's close to getting banned from the chat with his slander of my IGV and my bae Lisa Sue. Can't stomach that. ZA said the orange dome. That's a good one. I'm going to use that. I want to steal that, ZA. Thank you. But let's look at AMD. Like, I know they're probably pretty close to that gap fill. Getting there. New low right now, right? With the gap inside that gap, I should say. So we've got a new low on the daily and the weekly time frame, but will it stick? Will it get back up here above 190? What's the low there? Above 190? Yeah, I think it probably does. GP, are you still heavy AMD?
Me, no.
No.
No, I had in 2 different accounts. One account is back to zero on that, and the second account is, I think, only a 25% position. I think a lot of these chip names that popped on OpenAI are in distribution mode, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if AMD went back to 120. I really, really wouldn't. They've done it the last 2 years, so it would be nothing out of the ordinary for AMD. It is the shit stain of chips.
I'm gonna ban you right now with that type of language.
You know this as well, dude. You know
I
this
do.
as well.
I've held AMD for a long time, since it was in the 40s. So yeah, I get the pain it can be. I mean, it's probably like a lot like your love affair with Tesla, right?
Yeah, Tesla's much worse, right? Tesla's much worse because we have a bipolar CEO who's like, we're a car business. We're only selling 2 cars.
We're bringing Za back on the show eventually.
Are you thinking about getting back in your Rivian?
Me?
Yeah.
I have the small position in the Bags Brothers account, but
sure.
I'm not going to touch it probably. I'm probably not going to touch it unless it gets down here back closer to this trend line, Nick.
Okay.
That drop right there back at the beginning of the month of February was pretty enticing, and I think I did add a few shares down there, but I trimmed most of that out up here, and then I closed it once it broke down. I don't know, man. Like as far as what I'm holding right now, I've put quite a bit of money to work over the last 10 weeks in Amazon, Broadcom, ServiceNow, NVIDIA, and Synopsys. I even threw a little bit at Coin, AMD, and MicroStrategy. So I don't know. I've sold out of SoFi. I've still got Cloudflare. It's starting to get to the point of with what little cash I have, where do I trim from to add more? Because I'm pretty much right at my goal of where I wanted to reconstruct the portfolio at. So as far as portfolio building, I feel pretty good with where I'm at. Would I like to add some cheaper shares in maybe some Torque or some other high beta stuff? Absolutely, but I don't think it's necessarily time to deploy there yet.
It's always good to sell AMD. Because you'll be able to buy it lower no matter what you do.
He's wanting me to end the podcast early because I've had about up to here with the Lisa Sue slander GP. I'm gonna stick by my woman, damn it.
I guarantee you I'm not negative trading AMD.
But the stock is not representative of the woman. So
no,
I'm definitely if I bet you if I went back and pulled up every fucking AMD trade I've put on, I bet you like
it's
I'm
impossible.
Probably negative. I'm probably negative on it.
Yeah, I can tell you that's probably Nick. That's probably 99 out of 100 traders. Like AMD is just it's the Black Widow.
VPA wants to know when Shop looks good to us. I haven't looked at Shop in a while.
I kind of like it right here. I think
fuck with it here.
Yeah, like I think if it could put in I really like it just against 100. So like even if you're I don't know buying it here, I'd buy it versus 100 too. So I don't know. It looks good. It looks like it's putting in a higher low. I mean, I think I'm above 140 and it really gets cooking. So
yeah, I think you could look at it from. Let me get my little rectangle here. I think you could look at it probably from about here to here as a pretty decent buy zone. I mean, of course, yeah, you would want to get it closer to the bottom of that as you could, but you've got some pretty good wickage there for support and resistance. So I could make an argument. GP?
I guess if the market decides to roll, you're going to get a discount. You'll get it versus the 80s.
Probably.
If the market
AMD.
Say what?
This name trades like AMD for me.
Shop.
There's so many falling into the AMD category these days. Yeah, it looks okay enough, right? Like, I don't like failed breakouts. And if you have failed breakouts, it's essentially a double top, right? And failed breakouts, it went from 180 to 118, and there's no swift buying, right? Those are like when you have failed breakouts and you have a quick move down. I want to see on the quick move down buyers step in and launch it higher. This drawn out kind of pullback is not something that I enjoy. But as an investor, I can see if you're investing for the long term, I can see the value here. Yeah, it's just like because what happens, Nick, on these long drawn out things is these moving averages start to roll over, right? And the rollover now starts to set a trend. And so if you don't see the quick bounces out of these, then you have not only the overhead resistance, now you have the trend line resistance and moving averages resistance that helps build the case for going higher but getting slapped, right? And that's the thing with these prolonged moves down is you're starting to stack up all the resistance factors. And if you're looking at SHOP, the 10-day is moving down, right? It's going down pretty high. So even if it pops, that 10-day will probably be resistance. That's at 135, so it's still a decent move. But now the 20-day is rolling over. The 30-day is about to cross over. And this is on the weeklies, right? So if you have the weekly trend line starting to show overhead resistance, this becomes a uphill battle, right? It's for me, it's better to look at Rocket Labs and look at ASTS because you have market conditions against you right now, but at least the things are in your favor on technicals. And so if the market stops being an asshole, then the technicals start being your tailwinds essentially, right? So and if the market doesn't stop being that way, then these moving averages tend to be your headwinds.
Boys, and we've done an hour already. It seems like it flies by as it always does.
Yep.
Hey, thanks to the chat. It was a very lively chat. Thanks for everybody watching. We really appreciate that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow. It really helps us greatly. Really like to put on some YouTube shorts for you guys. I think that would be fun. Yeah. Hey, GP, last word's yours.
So I'm taking my dad to the Knicks game. It's his first time in MSG, and I got him matching hoodies. Remember to celebrate the good times and the bad times and the experiences that come along.
That's a great piece of advice there, GP. Thank you. And I'm a little mad at your Knicks for beating my Spurs on Sunday, but I'll get over that. Nick?
Beat? You kind of destroyed them.
No, you didn't destroy us. We had a bad game.
Yeah. Shit, I don't know. Be kind to yourself. You know, everyone, I think a lot of people are having probably a tougher, frustrating time. So if you need some time to get up and get away from the market, take advantage of it.
Go out and touch grass, right, Nick? Yeah. Breathe some of that fresh oxygen that you can get outside sometimes. I have ran 4 5Ks in the last 5 days. So 4 out of the 5 days I've ran 3.1 miles. So living up to my New Year's resolution, I'm getting that going. So that's been good. The arm feels great. Just look at everything as a blessing, right? Like you guys have heard the burnt toast theory or burnt toast effect, right? You know, you never know when little inconveniences in life set you up for something that you didn't know about. The universe kind of leads you in the direction that you're in. So just be water, go with the flow. Love you guys. I'm not bullish enough. We're not bullish enough. That'll be it for this Tuesday show, but we'll be right back tomorrow on Wednesday on StockTwits Community Rip Live. We got Riley Roseby. I'm really excited to talk with Riley about all things flying cars and that type of stuff. So that should be fun. That's not something we really get into a lot. So I know Nick, GP, you guys are looking forward to it too. But just try to be the best version of yourself every day. Take it one day at a time, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace out. Thank you for watching.